Mayor. So good to have you here. Good evening.
It's always good to be here. Let me say that while I'm here, and this is one of the things that comes to an end as well as all things when you have a tenure, but Richmond is a city with so many facets of history, and we have a history rich in architecture, from the Jefferson designed state capitol that has become the model for government buildings across the country, to the charming architecture found in our unique neighborhoods. And our history also includes a passion for baseball. And now I think is the time that we begin writing the next chapter in our baseball history. Richmond is a baseball town. And though the Richmond Braves chose on their own to leave after more than 40 years in Richmond, we are bringing baseball back to Richmond. You know, you'd be surprised. Well, you wouldn't be surprised, because some of you likewise have heard it. People have said that I ran baseball out of Richmond. I ran the Braves out, even though the RMA is comprised of Chesterfield, Henrico, and Richmond. Doug Wilder did it. But Doug Wilder's going to bring baseball back. And so to the extent that that happens, the process that will unfold is a process that this, as well as the future city council and the mayor, will have to carry forward in order to make baseball a reality in Richmond. Now, while we've got candidates running, while the Reverend Jones has advocated trying to get a Major League Baseball team, all I need to tell you is the most recent Major League stadium built just up the road in D.C. cost $650 million in public money. So I'll have another conversation with the Reverend and tell him that ain't going to happen here. But that was just for the stadium, didn't even include the franchise, which was a few $1,000,000 more. And I will say to my friends on council that we're going to do more than $1 a year for rent. That dog won't hunt either. And I know that have been some people who've said that. The city must remain grounded in reality as this process unfolds in the future. I shook my head as Councilman Tyler was speaking, because he's wise to point out what the Finance Committee, as well as the council and other local governments, are going to be confronted with. We are in the midst of something bigger than any of us are here able to contemplate where it's going to lead. We are going to need money. The question is how we spend it. I think that we can do this within reason. I think Richmond will be served well by a AAA or a AA team with local ownership that will help the city grow, as well as to expand on other entertainment opportunities. Now, there have been those that represent the interest of minor league baseball that have been meeting with me and my staff for the last few months, and at least 2 ownership groups have been given the authority to begin the negotiations for our baseball territory, and we expect an announcement to be forthcoming soon. These groups will be conducting negotiations with the potential franchises as the city continues the procurement process that will lead to the selection of master developers for the boulevard, as well as for the Main Street station, by October the 31st. Now, we've been working with our regional partners on all aspects of bringing baseball back to Richmond, and our county colleagues collectively have agreed that Mike Berry of the RMA would serve as our chief spokesperson on baseball, and he's been doing just that. And while we continue with the regional approach to baseball, we must allow competition to produce for us the best possible option, while maximizing opportunities for local ownership participation. But the promise of a new team also brings it with a chance to make this a new chapter for more than just baseball. It's a new opportunity to merge it with the enormous economic development potential that we have in addition to the sports recreational possibilities. We've been working vigorously for months with local developers and others to identify the merger of baseball with the entertainment as well as the economic concept. Responses to the RFQ and RFP process for the Boulevard, as well as for the Main Street Station, have produced recommendations that are bullish on baseball. But the majority of the responses, along with sentiments conveyed by minor league baseball, appear to favor baseball in a location other than the Boulevard. The private sector said baseball could be done on the North Boulevard property, but they have all concurred independently that such a plan would not maximize the most from an economic standpoint. Now, we've listened to the experts. We've hired financial and economic analysis firms to study the ideas, and everyone has concluded that there are several other alternatives and alternative sites for the future of baseball that may make greater economic sense. Now, while the RFQ and RFP processes for the Boulevard and Main Street Station area are not yet complete, and the process does not permit nor allow us to comment until it is complete, we will soon be discussing the future of where baseball is played, as well as the opportunity to create two new major economic engines for the city, driven by the private sector, but for the greater public benefit. As this process comes to a close, I hope it would meet your schedule for me to be able to announce a meeting on Monday, October the 27th, for you to have a final, a presentation of the final results of the procurement process of the developers' plans to both the City Council and to the public. And I think to the extent that that does take place, they will be there for you to ask any and all questions that should come up. It will be a comprehensive overview with a full Q&A session for the council to get a deeper understanding of the process that has been occurring and the tremendous potential it offers our city. At that time, we look forward to being able to present to you, as well as to the citizens of Richmond, the details of what promises to be the next great chapter in Richmond's baseball history, as well as beginning a new chapter in economic growth. I can tell you the excitement that I've had in terms of listening to them and reviewing it. I'm convinced that once you hear what it is they have to say and the manner in which they present it, it'll tell you that these two engines, one those two separate entities, one on the Boulevard and the other with the Main Street involvement, are such as would greatly, in my judgment, benefit the people of the city of Richmond. I want to thank you for the occasion of being here with you again, and I look forward to seeing you in the not-too-distant future. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for coming.